I saw Ryan at work the next day. And I asked him how he slept. He said, with the light on. After telling Justin about all this stuff, about the whole trip down the 2-mile trail, he wanted to go back out. He wanted to go check it out. So we went back out there the next night. We had a couple people with us again that had never been with us. So we ended up taking 2 vehicles. We got out there and we're just exploring as usual, looking around, seeing what was going on. And it didn't feel like the night before. So we're just walking around casually, and we had made our way out to the 50 headstones, and we were headed back. We got up beside the building that we call the Tomb Raider building. Here's the layout. We were walking back up beside this building, the Tomb Raider building, and Chris was in front of me. And we're walking, and another one of these out-of-body experiences is the only way I can describe it. Another one of those happened. And it was like I had teleported through the wall into the Tomb Raider building. And I was standing there with my flashlight, which I didn't even have a flashlight in my hand, but I was standing in the Tomb Raider building with my flashlight shining on a little girl in the corner, and she had her head down in her knees. She was sitting on the ground, and she had her arms up on her knees and her head down on her arms, and she was crying. And I stood there for maybe 5 seconds, and then the vision ended. I was back outside, and I stopped walking, and I said, "Hey, Chris, do you hear a little girl crying?" And he listened real hard. He said, "I don't know, I hear something." So I went around and went through the hole in the wall on the Tomb Raider building and looked over in that corner, and there was nobody there. I wasn't real surprised, but I could hear the crying. And we didn't really experience anything else. So we went on. We went back to the car, and we were leaving. And we decided that we were a little hungry and was wondering if the car behind us was hungry. And this was back in the day, not everybody had a cell phone. So I looked over at my mirror. I was riding passenger. I looked over at the mirror, and there was a small handprint on the mirror, like fogged up, like it had just touched the mirror. And we stopped at the stop sign. I got out and I went to the car behind us, and I told them what was going on. And they told me that they had seen her. After we got out of there, somebody had looked in the mirror and saw her behind the car. So we got back to town. We got to Justin's house, and we were going to pick up some more flashlights and go back out somewhere else. And we got back in the truck. The other people went on. It was just me, Justin, Sean, and Chris. And we were leaving. We got about a mile from the house, And Justin's phone started ringing, and he answered it. It was his wife. And she said, "Hey, you need to come back now." He said, "Why?" She said, "Because it sounds like there's a kid on our roof playing." And again, this is 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning. So we turned around, and where we were at, it took a minute because we had to hit a turnaround and go about another mile past the house and turn around and come back. And when we got to the house, we pulled up into the driveway, and the way the house was facing, the room that I stayed in was pointing toward the car, toward the truck. And the blinds were down, like somebody was looking through. And he was still on the phone with his wife. And I said, "Hey, is she in this room?" And he asked her, and she said, "No, I'm in our room on the other end of the house with the door locked under the blanket." And at this time, she was actually dog sitting her parents' dogs, and they were in that room. She said, "The dogs are in there." So I said, "Okay, maybe it's the dogs on the window somehow." So he went in to console her. I went in to check that room, and when I opened the door, the dogs were locked up in their kennels. So we knew that little girl had followed us, and she was playing on the roof. As crazy as that sounds. But everywhere we went, like to friends' houses, the little girl would show up, and she never talked to us. She was just there. It was like she just wanted to hang out and be part of the crew, but not really have any input. But we went to one friend's house, and we realized after this that we needed to start telling people that there was a possibility that there was going to be something there for a little while after we left. But we went to this friend's house, and we forgot to tell him. So we're hanging out and everything, and he says, "Hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back." And he opens his bedroom door, and he screamed, slammed the door, and come running back to the living room. And we're all like, "What in the world is wrong with you?" And he said, "Man, I swear, I just opened my bedroom door, and there was a little girl standing on the end of my bed." And at that point, we realized, we were like, "Oh yeah, we probably should have told you. She follows us everywhere. She might be here after we leave. She might hang out with you for a little while, but she's harmless." Well, we went back to the sawmill a couple nights later, and we got to the gate, and there was a car parked there. So, I mean, we couldn't get mad because other people are doing the same thing we are. So we just passed by. We're gonna drive on, make a couple laps, and see if they were gone when we came back. Well, we're riding, came up to a body of water, decided to stop like usual. And Sean, if you know Sean, he's not real quiet all the time. So when he gets quiet, you gotta ask him what's going on. And he had been quiet for a little while. And I said, "Hey man, what's up? What's going on?" And he said, "Do you think it's possible for a spirit to kill another spirit?" And I don't know. I have no idea. So I told him, I don't know. I mean, I guess that realm of physics is not within my knowledge, so I'm not sure why. And he said, because I just had a strange vision of the keeper ripping that girl's ghost in half